All right, for this explainer, we're diving into something a little different. This isn't a research paper or a big data set. Nope, it's actually a work of fiction that honestly gives one of the deepest and most insightful looks at bureaucracy you will ever find. The story imagines an office where the paperwork is literally alive.
Okay, let's just jump right into this bizarre world. I mean, that one line right there, it tells you everything you need to know about this place called Annex D. It's not just an office, it's a living, breathing ecosystem, and the documents themselves are the creatures that live there.
So in this place, the forms, the memos, the reports, they aren't just paper. They're part of this incredibly complex food chain. The whole office runs on rules that feel more biological than administrative. And check out this hierarchy. It's just wild. Up at the top, you've got these ancient, powerful quarterly reports. They're basically the system's brain, its memory. Then you have memos, and they hunt and eat the prey of this world, the requisitions. And the act of eating, it's not called eating, it's called processing. So who's showing us around this crazy place? Her name is Jem. She's a senior clerk. And her job isn't about fighting dragons or anything like that. It's about something way more subtle and way more important. Her predecessor couldn't even really explain it, but Jem figures out that her main skill is the art of noticing, just paying super close attention to the system. Okay, so everything has its place, right? The ecosystem is in balance. Well, that's all about to get shaken up. The whole story really kicks off one morning when something totally new, something unclassifiable, just shows up in a filing cabinet. This thing, called Form 14F, it's just totally alien. It doesn't move, it doesn't eat, you can't even read the text on it. The other documents, they can feel it too. They instinctively move away from it. And then it starts to reproduce. Not by eating, but by just multiplying. More of them just start appearing out of nowhere. And this is where it gets really brilliant. The system itself knows something's wrong. The native requisitions, remember, the prey, they start to change. The words on them change. Instead of requesting stuff like procedural momentum, they start filing legal claims, basically saying, hey, this is our territory. They know they're being invaded. So Jem and her colleague Fen, they pretty quickly figure out this isn't some random accident or weird mutation. No, the appearance of these weird forms is a deliberate strategic campaign coming from a rival office they've never heard of, the Bureau of Unilateral Expansion. You see, the fight isn't with guns or anything like that. It's fought with competing bureaucratic strategies, and it's totally asymmetrical. One side, Annex D, uses its established rules. It files claims, it follows procedure. The other side, it just wages war by existing, by multiplying, and by taking up space. So here's the really crucial thing to get. They aren't fighting over land or money. The battle is for something way more abstract and way more powerful. They're fighting over something called Classification Zone 7, which is basically the authority, the right to decide what to do with information that nobody knows how to classify. It's a fight for jurisdiction. So Jem realizes this whole thing is basically a legal fight, right? A dispute over who was here first. And she figures out that the only way to win isn't to fight back with more weird forms, but to file a better, stronger argument. This is where all her quiet work starts to pay off. She launches into this act of, well, bureaucratic heroism. She digs through these dusty old archives, uncovers evidence of a 40-year-long Cold War between the offices, and she even manages to start writing to her counterpart in the other bureau. She starts to compile every single piece of evidence she can find. The climax of this entire story isn't some huge battle. It's this, a 214-page document. It's just a meticulously assembled record proving with sheer overwhelming evidence that her office had been doing this specific kind of work, processing unclassifiable info for way longer. And get this, it actually works. She sends her massive document over to the rival bureau, and their own apex documents, their own highest authority, review her evidence and rule in her favor. The 40-year conflict is over. Not because of a fight, but because of the undeniable power of a really, really well-kept record. So, what's the point of all this? What's this strange story about living memos and bureaucratic warfare really about? Well, the author makes the takeaway really clear. The whole story, it's an allegory for the incredible power of just paying attention.
In any complex system, whether it's an office or a government or an online platform, maybe the most important thing you can do is simply notice. To record what you see and to understand how the system actually works from the inside. Like the book says, the clerk noticed. That is what was needed. Nothing more, everything.
And, this story also gets into something else. The real loneliness that comes with this kind of careful work. This quote here is from Pell, Jem's counterpart in the other office, and it just perfectly captures that quiet, often invisible effort it takes to maintain the complex systems that we all rely on. It's a job you can't really explain to people on the outside. And that's really the question the story leaves you with, and it brings this whole weird, fictional world right back into our own lives. I mean, what are the complex, overgrown systems that we depend on every single day? And maybe more importantly, who are the quiet, methodical people out there doing the crucial work of just noticing?